Self-development, really now self-development tactics podcast. Today we're going through neuroscientist Dr. Huberman on food fetishes, drugs, and nofap. Andrew Huberman being interviewed by Flagrant, Flagrant, and this was uploaded 6 days ago. So it is fairly a recent one, and what I like about it the most, and I'm going to show it to you. Isn't it even this? But why don't you do anything? No, it is not. There we go. The best thing about it is that the timeline is full of questions, relatively short questions. So there might be not only one episode around this this piece today. So probably multiple ones. And I think, there we go. I think this is fine. Is it? I think it is good. Maybe me a bit in the middle of those two. Maybe even smaller. I don't need to be that big, to be honest. Yeah, there we go. 6 days ago, 700k views already by 1.03 million subscribers is actually quite something. I do not really care about food fetish, so I'm gonna definitely skip that. But nofap rewiring the brain sounds quite interesting, and everything afterwards as well. I do really hope that the audio is fine in terms of loudness, but I think it is good. So let's see.
We're very Pavlovian in that way. The thing
Can we do that to ourselves?
What's that?
Can we create Pavlovian reactions to ourselves, to the things that we want?
Well, and there's a dark side to this too. And it's something that I think especially guys, young guys, have to be careful of, which is nowadays the availability of pornography is nothing like it used to be, right? Yeah. Someone used to have a magazine or a video. Now there's access to pornography is just, a couple, thumb taps to a couple people. And people can get very, young people can develop a lot of their arousal template to very extreme experiences, right? Because of the availability of extreme porn and never actually have any real world experiences.
Yes.
So if you think about it, their brains are becoming wired up to become aroused watching other people have sex.
Instead of having sex themselves.
Exactly.
So they're I've heard people that they need to watch porn in order to come. So they're having sex while watching porn.
Or even to get aroused. And here,
clinical fetish.
I have to say, that I get hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of questions, different health topics and science topics. One of the most common questions I get is how to quit porn addiction. And I would say about 25% of the people that I'm aware of based on those questions and a few people that I happen to know who are porn addicted are women.
Yeah.
And it becomes an issue where, do you ask, can there become a self-conditioned Pavlovian response?
Yeah.
And it's absolutely. Anything that...
Just to clarify real quick for people listening, what a Pavlovian reaction is.
So Pavlov won the Nobel Prize, the so-called Pavlov dog experiments, where basically you offer an animal some food or the smell of food, it starts salivating, but right before that you ring a bell. Yeah. And then pretty soon all you need to do is ring the bell and the animal starts salivating.
Yeah. So now they're reacting to the bell ring, not the actual...
You're a psychology major, UCSB.
Baby, we
could take the final exam now. Yeah. TA to class together. Oh my goodness, that'd be amazing. So I think that anytime, not I think.
So you're saying we're doing that with porn?
Well, and with anything. Anytime we experience a powerful emotional response or physical response, so that could be sexual arousal, it could be hunger, it could be fear, it could be excitement, whatever preceded that becomes the thing that our brain basically thinks leads to that. So the brain is a prediction machine. So and this has all sorts of roots around trauma and things that could be positive or negative. So you can imagine that if every time, your parent blinked and then they hit you when you were a kid.
See that blink.
You see someone blinking and you get kind of your heart rate goes up, et cetera, because the brain generalizes, but it wants to predict what's going to happen next. On the positive side, if every time you arrived at your grandmother's house, you knew that there was going to be delicious food and you're going to feel very nourished, like no trauma, then just walking up to a doorbell of a similar home, you might find like, I just feel good right now. We are very kind of crude in our wiring, right? Our brain generalizes to try and predict. So, but in terms of the extreme things like sexual arousal, if young, and I do say guys, it's women watch pornography also, that's been well established, but I get a lot of questions from guys who are addicted to porn and who have challenges in sexual interactions in the real world because they either need that or they don't really understand, they haven't been socialized in terms of normal consensual sexual interactions. And I always say, anytime we're talking about this sort of thing, the disclaimer is we're talking about age appropriate, consensual, context appropriate, species appropriate, right? Throw in species appropriate because, there's all sorts of things out there. So,
some Scottish people listening right now.
Yeah. Shouts to my family.
So I think that it's interesting, like extreme stuff of any kind, or even, for instance, people who get really into fetish type sex, or they get into, having multiple, they get really into threesomes, right? Yeah, this is a very, as long as we're talking openly, there are a lot of people that I know who got really into this during the kind of early stages of the polyamory movement, right? So, which started in the 70s, but then came back again in the early 2000s. And then they found that they could not get aroused with just one partner. And that's because their brain was so used to a certain set of things preceding this. That's extreme, right? I mean, it's for some people, it's
never
less extreme.
Never have I had less empathy for a person in my entire than the guy who just can't get off without two girls.
Yeah. So, but that person is rendered sometimes challenged with one person, sometimes not. Right? It depends on the diversity of their arousal template. So I'm not saying porn is bad, or for some people, listen, it's. But I don't think not my proclivity, but for some people, polyamory is their thing. So we're not judging the behavior. What we're saying is the brain, anytime there's a big release of dopamine,
wiring towards it.
Yeah, whatever preceded it.
You got to diversify.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, I don't think it's only with these extreme examples. I think a lot of times, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, but let's say we open up Instagram or TikTok, right? The algorithm is just feeding you attractive women, stunningly attractive women. And
seems to be feeding me random bodega fights lately.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even know how that happened.
There you go.
I think I watched a Michael Rappaport clip or something, and now all I'm getting is bodega violence.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
Bodega violence and badly proportioned male bodybuilders. I didn't look this stuff up. What is going on?
Interesting. I'm getting thoughts.
We need to change. We need to change.
I'm just
we need to
thoughts.
swap
We really
phones.
need to do that immediately.
Okay.
But I guess what I'm saying is I'm seeing all this, right? And I'm I think this is unhealthy for me because I'm just seeing all these girls that are filtered. Their bodies are filtered. They have plastic surgery. They have makeup. Not one of these girls is naturally looking this way. And I think it's tricking my brain to, not even tricking my brain, but there is this reaction where I'm like, oh, this is normalcy.
People obviously have attraction to different phenotypes.
Do they now?
They do.
100%?
They do, absolutely.
Because my boxing trainer likes them thick.
Yeah. I mean, some people like people that are curvier.
But I think that's a function of something else.
Some women report.
I think he wants more warmth in the winter. Because in the summer, he doesn't like thick girls as much. But in the winter...
There's a seasonality to it.
I think he wants a warmer day.
It actually makes sense.
Yeah, he's this Egyptian dude, and he's just I don't think he knows how to. He's this awesome, amazing boxer, but I don't.
Andrew's just really not able to. I kind of also wonder why he is on this podcast. I mean, the questions are really, really, really great, and also some questions, any questions from this guy in the green shirt. They are very useful, I would say, and can bring Huberman to certain ideas and certain things that he would have never talked about else. But still, that's strange. Can you see that? No. I would assume but is this the real one? Thank you, Andrew and team, for hosting me is it also an Andrew? Well, nevertheless, for your many questions, jokes, and insights, the humor and astute awareness with which you view and make fun of life is appreciated.
Know if he knows how to work his radiator or whatever like that. So I think in the winter, it's like he wants a little bit more.
Someone to get cozy with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know that the phrase
I bought him a blanket, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. This is good too."
You know, the phrase 3-dog night originates. 3-dog night. That phrase originates because it used to be that people would sleep with 3 dogs in order to stay warm.
Really?
Yeah, actual animals.
I never heard
Because you need
this
3 of them in order to stay warm. Yeah, animals used to be for work, not for pets. Eventually, now they're bred to basically be like there as little. It's like now, especially in New York, I feel like dogs are like it's like they're like an accessory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't like because I'm a huge animal lover. I don't like when people, because I need to see people take really good care of animals. When I see animals that are badly taken care of, there's this part of me that wants to steal them.
Yeah.
And give them away
Oh,
to
like the
people
guy's pushing the fucking dog in the stroller. Have you seen that? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, that's all New
depriving an animal of
Craziest
its
thing.
ability
It's the
to walk.
craziest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homeless people actually are some of the best pet owners. Have you ever seen the way, like how obedient their pets can be compared to some of the rich people
shocking.
in major cities?
Fucking
the way
pit bulls.
The way that their dogs can't behave. They got these cavapoos that go crazy. Well,
Yes.
the cavapoos are pretty mellow, but
whose dogs can't behave, I wonder.
but you can also, but I do think
Always on.
people do like different biological shapes. People like different shapes. So there's a guy down at UT Austin who's one of the founders of evolutionary biology, David Buss. And, you know, there is it's a ratio issue. So there is this thing about, you know, what signals fertility, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, and then with women, they'll report, you know, that some women like guys that are really heavily muscled and some like men that are more svelte, more, you know, more slim, right? You know, and
Svelte.
Svelte is crazy. Imagine your girl described you as svelte. No, you're svelte.
Yeah.
You got a good body.
I don't want that Jack Brad Pitt guy. I like a
I want the
svelte guy.
svelte guy.
and this is changing too.
On
Like,
your back.
like guys that, I thought it was you that's on your back.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, she was telling me in that situation.
So I think that the, you know, it's all changing. Like now, because of action movies, there's this tendency for especially young guys to think that they have to look like action heroes,
Yeah,
right?
like Mark.
Like they want to be really muscled out.
Yeah.
But, you know,
That's
in
not what
reality,
women
when
want.
it doesn't, on average, right? So
Average women don't want it.
everything are averages. Everything are averages.
Agreed.
And then remember,
These guys don't eat anything. They're eating so much. They're trying to put on all this weight and stuff like that. Girls don't like that.
Yeah.
They're fucking pissed.
Evolutionarily, aren't women more attracted
Jason
to
Momoa would
the ability?
disagree.
It's all ability to provide for offspring, right? So for men, it's proportions that can give me offspring. And for women, it's who can make the money to take care of our offspring.
yeah, so what's interesting is if you,
Evolutionarily.
So
not
here
What
I'm-
about
in
pistol
practice.
length too?
So here
Is that an
I'm
important thing?
so here I'm. Well, okay. It used to be that people would wear belts with sash, with like a long belt hanging out. That was, I mean, or swords, like the length of swords and things like that. There's a whole
literally
literature
look
on
what he
this.
has.
There's a whole literature on this. Definitely not in my arousal temper.
Just keeping in mind, this is a doctor and professor of neuroscience at Stanford, and someone using, for actually the podcast listener, someone using his belt as a replacement for his penis to slap him is kind of ridiculous.
While we're talking about pistols real quick, that was something I noticed when we went to your show. There were so many beautiful women at this show.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is really cool. Like, women are interested in like neuroscience and everything that you have to do. And then you stepped on stage and you had the bulge working, bro. It was crazy. Literally. What did I literally messaged Mark. I was like, I can't even concentrate.
I saw the message too. Everyone was taking notes on the lecture. And
No,
I
the
just
girls
see
were
a
zooming in.
bulge.
There were 2 girls in front of
They're
us.
joking, folks.
No, they weren't. No. You were wearing black, which is slimming, but not that day. It was crazy. And the girls were zooming in.
Oh, no.
We were 4th row.
Yes.
It was,
Oh, no.
yeah.
And then you turned around and showed off the hee-haw.
Yeah, you did, dude. No, you were packing that day, man. You were absolutely packing.
Yeah.
Do you fluff before the show? Dude, if I'm just saying, it was abnormal. It was abnormal. You had a little cuttlefish in there.
There's even a section in this video that is Huberman is packing. The next one would actually be kindness is the most attractive quality. Actually very interesting, but I think that I'm gonna go through this next time. So